Top 10 convicts who freaked out after being given a life sentence. Life sentences are often considered one of the harshest punishments a person can receive, and for many convicts, the reality of spending the rest of their lives behind bars is a terrifying and overwhelming thought. The emotional response to such a sentence can vary greatly. While some may show remorse or acceptance, others react with extreme outbursts or uncontrollable fear. Here's a look at the top 10 convicts who freaked out after being handed a life sentence. 1. Ted Bundy. One of the most infamous serial killers in U.S. history, Ted Bundy was sentenced to death for his horrific crimes. However, it was the possibility of a life sentence that seemed to unravel him. In a panic during his trial, Bundy screamed and demanded to know why the jury had not opted for a more lenient sentence. His outbursts revealed just how much he feared the reality of prison life. 2. Eileen Wuornos, a prostitute who killed 7 men, was sentenced to death after her trial. When facing her life sentence, she famously shouted that she did not want to live and feared being incarcerated forever. She showed an intense emotional reaction, fueled by her mental state and troubled past. 3. Charles Manson. The notorious leader of the Manson family cult, Charles Manson, was sentenced to life in prison for orchestrating the murders of 9 people. Although Manson appeared calm during the sentencing, his later behavior in prison often revealed deep paranoia and emotional outbursts, including several violent incidents as he struggled with the reality of a life behind bars. 4. Richard Ramirez. Known as the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez was convicted of 13 murders. During his sentencing, Ramirez reportedly gave a chilling smile, but later he struggled with the harsh reality of his life sentence. His emotional breakdowns in prison led to violent altercations with other inmates, revealing his inability to cope with the sentence. 5. Michael Vick. Once a famous NFL quarterback, Michael Vick's involvement in an illegal dogfighting ring led to a federal conviction, while he was not given a life sentence. His emotional breakdown after being sentenced to 23 months in prison showed how crushing the idea of losing his career and freedom was. Vick wept openly in court, devastated by the consequences of his actions. 6. James Holmes. The man responsible for the 2012 Aurora Theatre shooting. James Holmes was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Holmes' emotional breakdown during the trial and sentencing stage was marked by disturbing outbursts and visible signs of distress, revealing how unprepared he was for the life sentence he faced. 7. Oscar Pistorius, the Olympic runner who shot and killed his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp, was sentenced to 5 years for manslaughter, later upgraded to 13 years. His reaction during the trial and sentencing showed signs of intense fear and shock, particularly as he faced the long term in prison after his fall from grace. 8. Aaron Hernandez. Former NFL player Aaron Hernandez was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Reports from prison revealed that Hernandez experienced emotional turmoil after his life sentence, including self-destructive behavior and periods of depression, culminating in his tragic suicide in September 2017. Jodi Arias. Jodi Arias was convicted of the brutal murder of her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander S. During her sentencing, Arias went through several emotional breakdowns, trying to avoid a life sentence by pleading for the jury to show mercy. Her intense fear of spending her life in prison was evident in her dramatic outbursts. 10. Karla Hamilka, a Canadian woman convicted of her involvement in the rape and murder of 2 young girls, received a 12-year sentence in a controversial plea deal. However, when her deal came under scrutiny and she faced the possibility of a much longer sentence, she showed signs of distress and panic as she was unprepared for the full weight of her punishment.